just the change of physical body, which never existed on its own. The body is just a garment. It's just like a box. It never existed, never had any life. This body never had any life. So, to that extent, the owner of that body, the person in that body, the soul in that body doesn't die. Otherwise, I say it can never die. Awolowo will never die.
Where's Awolowo now?
It's with us. It's in the continuum. It's going on. I mean, Awolowo is mentioned every day. In one form or the other. Such people don't die.
That was the man you also worked with at some point.
I did, and I loved him. And I still love him.
But you quarreled with him at some point.
I did, of course I did.
And you gave him a piece of your mind.
Oh yes, in a terrible way. I mean, the way nobody has ever dared look in his face. And
how did he receive it?
Well, I mean, he knew I was angry, and several people were involved. I mean, Justice Adesoya was asked to call me. Professor Ujabi was sent to Ibadan to collect me, to plead with me. So many people. Bolaigi and his wife came to my house. You know, no, don't quarrel with leader and all that. And we made it up. I mean, I allowed him to use my paper till Sunday staff for his campaign in '83. We became good friends again. In any case, my father's second wife, Miss Awolowo's niece, so I couldn't have cried with Awolowo.
Who was he? What was unique about him?
If it were in the days of Shango and Obatala, I mean, Awolowo should have been deified. He did more to the Yoruba than any of the gods they are talking about.
So what's stopping us from making him a god?
Because since Shango, the last of the Yoruba deities, they've not created another deity. That's all.
So what's stopping us from creating new deities?
Well, I've created him. I call him an Orisha. For me, he's a deity.
Awolowo is a deity.
Yes, he is.
What makes him a deity?
His extraordinariness, his intellect, his courage, his service, his selflessness, his vision and visionariness. The man who saw 1 million years ahead of him. The man who was feared by death. Death was afraid of Awolowo. He was that powerful. He was that great.
Was it a mistake to have sent him to prison?
Well, political imprisonment, it wasn't a mistake for those who did it. It was cheering news to them.
And Nigeria paid for it?
Oh yes, and we are still paying for it. If Awolowo had become president in 1979, we won't be where we are today. He meant well for Nigeria. He meant well for humanity. He was a people's man.
Did he mean well for the Igbos?
He meant well for everybody. If he didn't mean well for Igbos, he won't make Igbo man his running mate.
That was after the war.
No, in '79, he made his, if he didn't like them during the war or after the war, how could he make his running mate an Igbo man?
You know, some Igbos are angry that during the war, he was the finance commissioner of Nigeria.
Yeah, and number 2 man.
And number 2 man.
Yes.
Some said he made the argument that hunger is a legitimate instrument of war.
Yeah, but that's a known fact anywhere in the world. Hunger is, I mean, starvation is a legitimate weapon of war. I mean, and it wasn't the head of state. And in any case, like I argued with one of my friends, I mean, I have a lot of people friends, quite close friends, like I mentioned, Obiazo and so many of them. Why should they continue to make friends with people who never regarded them as human beings? Not even as recent as some 80 years ago, or even 4 years ago, 80 years ago, thereabout, Buhari was calling them a dot in a circle. You know. What is the character of the Igbos to make them to continue to go to Kano, to go to Jos, to go to Zaria, to go to such places?
Perhaps the character of one Nigeria.
No. Greed, commerce and all that. And being, I hate to say, they must have approved of their way of life. They must have approved They must have seen some kinship in such people.
So you're saying that on a good day after what happened before the war and after the war,
no Yoruba man will go back to where their wives and children were treated the way the Igbos were treated. No Yoruba man will ever go back there. None. I can say that with all authority at my disposal.
But the Igbos went back.
Yeah.
And now some of them are calling for Biafra.
Yes, I know. Some of them, yes. But those calling for Biafra were not Igbo leadership.
Is there anything like Igbo leadership?
There must be. I mean, every culture must have some people they defer to.
But you know...
I know Igbos are Republican, I know
yes,
that.
But they are separate.
I know that, but they still respect some people. I mean, they respect their grandparents, they respect their parents. I don't buy the stupid talk that an Igbo man will wake his mother up by kicking her in the ass. No, you know, I went there. I have the shifted status in the east. I went to the east. I saw that even the Igbo girls couldn't even smoke in their father's houses.
Yeah.
I found that an Igbo woman will not bring a boyfriend to sleep with her in her father's house. I found that out. And we didn't know that in the West here. I found serious moral rectitude among the Igbo girls. You know?
So the point is that Awolowo didn't hate the Igbo.
Never. He didn't. I mean, this woman, Odumadu, was the leader of the woman leader of the UPN, an Igbo woman. Awolowo did not hate the Igbos at all. Awolowo had no stomach for hatred.
But some would say Awolowo should have avoided that war cabinet.
It was a call for duty. He didn't. Gawan released him from prison. If Gawan said he needed his wisdom, he needed his service, he needed his expertise, of course.
To fight against the Igbo.
Not to fight. I mean, he was in the cabinet before the war started, so it couldn't have been to go and fight the Igbos.
But before the war started, it was clear that Nigeria was moving towards a war situation.
Yeah, that was not Awolowo's creation. It was the creation of those the Igbos continue to worship.
The Igbos continue to worship who?
They continue to worship those who hated them and who treated them like they didn't belong to this world.
Did the Igbos miscalculate at some point in the history of Nigeria?
No. Well, as far as the war was concerned, it wasn't miscalculation. Although the war was not necessary, they shouldn't have gone to war. But they were provoked. Igbos had no choice but to go to the war. They had no choice other than to fight to defend it, to defend humanity. I supported Ojukwu 1,000%. They were pushed to the wall. They had to fight. They had to create their own country by fire, by force.
Do you think there should be Biafra?
Of course. Of course. Of course. Where did I go and visit my Zegu's mother? Why did I go to the east for my honeymoon? Why did I go to Lagos or go to somewhere else to do my honeymoon after marriage?
You went to the house of Chinua Achebe?
I went to Chinua Achebe in Nsukka University. I spent a night there. I went to Mazi, the author, what's his name now? It was president of youth movement. He lived somewhere close to Enugu. You know, I went to see him. I spent a night there.
Will Biafra come?
It will come. I mean, Nigeria is going to break up. Nobody can do anything about it. Nobody.
Why are you so certain about it?
Because I know it will happen. No country operated the way Nigeria has been operated can survive. It's not possible. All the rogues who are running the country down, who are doing all sorts of things they are doing now, will pass away. They will not be there forever.